White Huaytup. I'm here in Paris, France, for a gathering of resistors here that are fighting back against imperialism, against these colonial nation states that continue to destroy indigenous territories everywhere. And so it's an honor, to be here with organizers here, to be called and requested to come and share our resistance and our rebellion against Canada. And we continue to fight back. We've never stopped fighting back for our territory. Secwepemc-Ulluch. Right now, our people are facing the wildfires, and I heard that the wildfires calmed down a bit in our territory, but I wanted to, just send my prayers to all of my people in Secwepemc-Ulluch to stay safe and their houses remain protected by the wildfires. I'm here to share our story about our fight for our land in so-called Canada, in so-called British Columbia, Canada, where we remain unceded and unsurrendered. We'll never surrender our territory. And at this point, negotiations will not happen because the colonial governments continue to negotiate extinguishment of our Aboriginal or Indigenous title and rights, to be granted back as a cash deal, but we're not going to negotiate for cash. It's our land. Our land is worth more than money. Our land is worth more than anything because it's the generations that will survive off this land, and to tens of thousands of years our ancestors had a responsibility to keep our land pristine, keep our water pristine to how it is today. And so we have duty and responsibility to our land. And we have it in our DNA to fight back as Indigenous peoples. We've never surrendered. And so find it in your DNA. Find your warrior spirit in your DNA and fight back for your watershed. Fight back for your berry picking grounds, your hunting grounds. Fight back any way you can, by any means necessary, because we only have a limited window of time before our earth won't be able to sustain itself anymore. And we know this as Indigenous peoples. We have this in our prophecies, but they say that we'll be protected as Indigenous people, but not if we act like the white man and just continue to live white man way and consume like the white man, destroy our land like the white man, some stew it and being just bad human beings like the white people. I come here to Paris and I see all these white people around. I go to the restaurant and I see all the white people around, and then I say, hey, this is just like Canada. How did our land in Canada get invaded by so much white people? The people around the world, our Indigenous brothers and sisters, the Africans and the Palestinians and all the Indigenous people around the world recognize that this is our land. Indigenous people's land in Turtle Island, North, Central, and South America is Indigenous people's land that the white people took. The rest of the world knows it. They watch us. They see how we're fighting back. The people don't get it are the invaders, the so-called Americans and the so-called Canadians that think they have a right to occupy our territory. At this point, civilian occupation is an act of war. So if you're not standing up and fighting alongside the Indigenous peoples for land, if you're not giving land back, if you're not willing land back to Native people, then we don't need you here. We don't need you in Canada. We don't need you in the States. You're causing more hardships on us by this invasion and this impact that you have on our daily lives as Indigenous peoples. The more invasion and the more people, the immigrants that Canada takes in, the harder it is for us. So if you're immigrating to Canada, you gotta fight alongside Indigenous peoples. You can't just live and breathe and drink our clean water and live on our clean land and breathe our fresh air as Indigenous peoples as we struggle blood, sweat, and tears to keep it clean. We have duty and responsibility as the human race. And so as I prepare here to go speak to around 1,000 organizers here in Paris, France, I stand here, I see my Uncle Pancho is on this live feed, but he gifted me this hat, and he said he was going to be making his war bonnet with it, but it's an honor for me to receive this hat, and I wear it here in Paris, people staring at me with this big eagle feather in there. but my prayers are with all of my people, because that's who I learned from. I learned from our elders. I learned from all the people who stand up for our sovereignty and our autonomy and our independence as Indigenous peoples, that we have a right to exist on our land without any type of colonial interference, that we can go and take land back, that we can live free on our land without anybody harming or touching us, interfering with our lives, that we can hunt and fish and continue to be Secwepemc and Kalmuk U'i forever. So I'm going to come live again during this speech that I'll be talking at in around half an hour. So I got to get going. It's going to be at a university here in Paris, but I look forward to it and sharing with all these rebels here that are also fighting imperialism. Good job.